start the recording. And so when the presenters, you want to come up here, this will allow it to be recorded. And then I have the different presentations saved. And then for the online presenters, you can share your screen. I think I've made you all co-hosts. And then everyone, please feel free to come in. One of the really exciting things about this workshop is I did 7 years of transfer advising experience prior to being in orientation and transition. One of the things that was some of the most questions was about scholarships for transfer students. And one of the things that is often really eye-opening for transfer students, and you'll hear it, and we'll have our presenters talk about deadlines, but I know that some of the deadlines can be as early as February 1st or end of January. And these are scholarships you all are eligible to apply for as long as you meet the eligibility requirements. And I just hate it when people miss those opportunities. So I'm really happy that you're all here so we can help make sure that you don't miss those funding opportunities, because the scholarships you're applying, even though you think like, oh, it's February 1st, it's for fall semester in August. And so I'm really passionate that we don't miss that. So do you want to start with Kirsten in the Women's Resource Center? I have yours pulled up, and then, oh, let me share my screen. So we'll share. Do this one. Getting everybody in. People are also over Zoom. So.
Let's see. Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Kirsten Monum. I'm the Associate Director at the Women's Resource Center. I use she, her pronouns. And our office is just located right upstairs, room 411. If you go up either of the stairs, we're down the hall from the LGBT Resource Center, the Veteran Support Center, and Child and Family Resources. So come visit us either today or when you're a student here this spring. Just briefly about the Women's Resource Center, our mission statement, as you can see, is that we support student well-being and success through programs, counseling, training, and scholarships. And so today I'm here just to talk mainly about the scholarships. And to advance, let's see.
Oh. Yeah, sorry,
just click that one. Okay. So as you can see on the screen, we do have 13 different scholarships in our office, but we only have one application. So you can read through on our website, and I have cards out on the table out here with our QR code that'll take you right to our website. You can look at the different scholarship opportunities, and if you think you qualify for one of them, which I'm guessing a lot of you in this room would, then you just apply to that one application, and we all as a committee go through in the spring and put you in the different pools, which ones you might apply for. Every year we give out about 400,000 in tuition scholarships. So all these that you're applying for would be for next fall. All of our requirements are listed. The next slide will have kind of specifics. Those are general ones. And then each scholarship has their own kind of area of focus. So you'll apply in academic works, which is pretty typical for most of the scholarships here at the university. And then other places that you can receive financial support would be through financial aid. Their office, they do have a university emergency scholarship that was set up when COVID hit. There's a basic needs center that's here in the basement of the union. Right now we're operating virtually, but there they can connect you to other supports for basic needs. And then another office in student affairs is the Financial Wellness Center, and they can help you look at other funding options for your tuition, or help you budget, or say, okay, I'm going to accept this loan. What does that mean for me? So it's really important to work with all these offices to get the support that you need. So this slide lists all of our specific scholarships on the left. And because there's different priority focuses, I tried to do color coding to help you with that. So like the Alumni Association, basically every one of you, when you get to your last year of classes, you'd be eligible for that. So it's open to all genders, as most of our scholarships are. Beta Gamma historically has been for students who are in that sorority. The Advancing Women in Medicine is for an undergrad student who is taking the prereqs to go to med school, or somebody who's already in med school. The Michaels Foundation and the Papa Nicholas Foundation, those are for students who come from underrepresented backgrounds, and those are undergrad students. And then the Willie the Plumber is for students whose parents have been or are currently incarcerated. The next ones below that are in red, the Boundless, Crankstart, Osher, those are all for students who are non-traditional students, and how that is defined for the purpose of these scholarships is if you've had a 5-year gap from high school. So it doesn't have to be a consecutive gap, but just a cumulative over the years. So maybe you left high school in 2003, went to the community college for a year, started working again, came back to the community college, went to another college. If you have a 5-year gap, you could apply for any of those. And those are some of our more generous scholarships. The Crankstart Award is up to $5,000 a year. Pete and Arlene Harmon Trust Scholarship is similar for non-traditional students or parents who are coming back after a break. Same with the Sorensen Legacy Foundation. And then our Simmons Family Foundation are for parenting students. So we can either work with the child care office to put that towards childcare if you are using the university's childcare, or we can put it on for your tuition. And then we're really excited to announce that we're in conversations, and this should likely kick off in the fall, but if you know any single parents, there will be a very generous scholarship through our office that will basically cover all of their tuition or additional childcare if they're getting their tuition from somewhere else. So that will be a separate application on our website as soon as the details with the funder have been signed and everything like that. Our scholarships are open a little bit later than some of the others here at the university. They open January 1st, so you could find them on Academic Works right now, and they'll be open till February 28th. If they do not have a letter of recommendation, so now is the time to be asking about those, they will not be reviewed. So it'll be an incomplete application, similar to if you don't have a personal statement uploaded. And we only ask for 500 words, so it's not that hard to do. And then our baseline for scholarships is a 2.5 GPA. A couple of them have a little bit higher GPA, but some of them you qualify for if you have a 2.5 GPA transferring in. And then we do that, ask that all of our scholars have at least 24 hours of college credit at another institution. So one way to determine eligibility or demonstrate financial need is to fill out that FAFSA. You can do a paper FAFSA through the Office of Financial Aid if you're more comfortable with that. But we do, because all of these are private funds, we're able to give them to all students who meet these other requirements. And so that is our QR code to our office. If you want to connect with us in some way, we do utilize volunteers. We do mental health counseling in our office. We have group supports, and we will be kicking off some programming this spring. So you're welcome to reach out to me or anybody on our team if you have questions. And also happy to work with you on your scholarship statement if that is needed as well. Do we want to wait to do questions at the end?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Kirsten. Our next, let me close this. And then there's a sign-in sheet going around. Hold on. Here we go. This one. And then there is information just outside after this presentation that you can get more information from the Women's Resource Center. Admit anyone waiting. And so Ricky, are you able to go now and talk about international studies and all the great scholarships there?
I am. I'm excited to be here. Thanks so much. Would you like me to screen share or use what I say?
If you can screen share, if not, I can back up with.
Yeah, I will screen share. I think you gave me access. Let me set that up and we'll begin. Let's see. All right, is that working?
Yes.
Wonderful. Let me just begin the slideshow. Okay, wonderful. Well, it's so great to be here. Can everybody hear me as well? I know technologically this can be a challenge. You're doing great, Paul. It looks like both hybrid format. Am I speaking loud enough?
Okay. Yes, we got thumbs up.
Okay. Wonderful. Well, it's so good to meet you. You heard Paul mention Ricky. My name's Patrick or Ricky. I go by both. You can call me either. It's really good to meet you all from afar. Quick introduction. I really like soccer. I love reading. I'm a big fan of language learning in general. I believe a lot in language justice and language equality. I speak Spanish and Guarani and Nahuatl. And I coordinate a number of scholarships for the International and Area Studies Office, which is really amazing. I love my job because it helps facilitate funds for students studying languages. So today I'm going to talk primarily about the Foreign Language and Area Studies Scholarship, though I do coordinate others. I'm hopefully just a person you can meet, remember amongst the many people, amazing people you're meeting today, but reach out after. I'm happy to answer questions and help with your applications or help with questions to apply. So this is the big one. This is the biggest monetary award that we offer and the most numerous, meaning the biggest number of students will receive the Flask. It is a federal award granted from the Department of Education to our university. So we apply as the Asia Center and the Center for Latin American Studies. And so this is for both undergraduate and graduate students. Everyone is eligible regardless of level of study, right, of your program. Who are studying modern languages to advance in that language study. So this is the list. These are the list of eligible languages that we offer here at the University of Utah. I think I have it maybe alphabetically, I'm not even sure. But just to mention real quick, I'll name the three offered from the Center for Latin American Studies. You see Ecuadorian Quechua, there's Nahuatl, two different indigenous languages from Latin America, and then Portuguese. The rest on this list are supported by the Asia Center. That is not a political statement of geopolitical statement around what is Asia. It's what we're able to support with those funds from the Asia Center. So it's really great. We can support Arabic, we can support Persian, Farsi, as well as now, which is amazing. If anyone doesn't know, the University of Utah offers Samoan, a Pacific Island language. So these are great opportunities, ways to fund your study of any of these languages. So how much does it award? This is our most generous scholarship, and as far as I understand, one of the most financially generous scholarships that you'll probably find on campus. So for undergraduates, you'll receive up to $10,000. And I say up to $10,000, everyone who's selected gets the same offer, right? It just means if your tuition is less, you unfortunately don't receive the remainder, but you receive maximum of $5,000 each semester for an academic year award, meaning a 2-semester fall and spring award. And on top of that, you'll receive a $5,000 stipend. So $2,500 each semester. And those are just funds that you get to support really, your books, your living expenses, whatever that you need. Graduate awards are much higher. So if you are a graduate student or looking into graduate study one day, just take note real quick of a much bigger sum that you receive as a grad student. And then summer is a bit different, but I'll just use this moment. I only have about 1 or 2 minutes left here just to explain a distinction. These awards are actually for study on campus in Salt Lake City, Utah, at the University of Utah. They're not necessarily awards for learning abroad, but our summer awards are. We do support students going abroad every summer when travel is authorized. In the current context, it's a bit more tricky, but if travel is authorized, we support students going abroad. The academic year awards rarely do. They're almost entirely granted for students here studying that language, right? One of those languages from that list. So who can apply? This is a federal award. They require that the applicants, recipients either have U.S. citizenship or permanent resident status. Now, I'm just going to say real quick, I think you'll all meet a representative from the Dream Center, but not all scholarships do. This one does. That is not our choice. That's just a federal requirement. But if you're interested, and it's really important to know, there's an amazing Dream Center on campus that announces, promotes, continually supports scholarship opportunities that don't have that restriction, right? So that's all I'll say for that moment and just move on. But the next one, you'll see students must be full-time students when they receive the award. If you're not yet, that's okay, right? But you need to plan on being a full-time student if you receive the award. Now, the main thing I want to mention here, because I hope some of you in the room, if not many of you, can apply still this month, that this is our due date. Just want to make sure you know who can apply. You need to be going into your second year of language study of that language. So a really common route is a student who's already studying right now first year. So I'm going to choose a language. Say you're in Vietnamese 1010. You're taking 1010, or you just took it in the fall semester. You're moving on to 1020, which is part B. There's part A and part B of the first year, right? You can apply when you're en route to second year. You apply now in January for next academic year to begin to receive the award in the fall. So if you're already studying a language, you can apply if you will be ready for second year. So that's a good thing to know. You don't need to reach second year and then apply. You apply knowing you will be ready at that time, right? One more thing to mention. You don't have to gain that proficiency in a classroom. If you have language skills, which is amazing from your personal life experience, right? That could be as a heritage speaker of a language, you have experience in your household, your community, or time you spent in a community, either domestic or abroad, your travels, your intensive language experience. You can be ready for second year. You would just need to verify to the committee, I'm ready for second year. Sometimes that's a placement test. Sometimes that's a less formal, just a verification with one of our instructors. If you're not sure, reach out to me and I can help you find out more, but you don't have to do that through the classroom to get to second year, right? So that's important. One more thing I'll mention, there's a really unique opportunity for those who have advanced Spanish language skills. If you have Spanish language proficiency, again, through the classroom or from life experience, however you have that proficiency, that's great. You can apply for Portuguese for Spanish speakers. That's a second year level course. You may have never taken ever Portuguese in a formal setting or at all. You may have never studied Portuguese. You could already apply because Portuguese for Spanish speakers is a second year course. You're applying for Portuguese, right? So I'll wrap up here in interest of time. I just want to mention that because here is our application due date. That the Flask Award is being considered soon, right? For the upcoming summer and the upcoming academic year. I just gave you a quick link instead of a long one, just to remember IAS. That's our International and Area Studies website. So it's pretty easy to remember, ias.utah.edu. You can find all the language scholarship information there. And if you're not sure, here's my email. I'm giving you the quick one to remember as well. It links to my personal work email, the same thing, but FLAS. I'm really excited, eager to help answer questions. The due date for the application is January 28th. It is not too late. You can still apply. So if you already are studying one of these languages on the list, I'll go back real quick. If you want to study one of the languages, you can be ready for second year. I strongly encourage you to apply because it's a really generous award. And, you know, in general, I'll wrap up and just say I'm wishing you all the best. Whether you choose to study language, whatever you're studying, welcome to the university. It's really great to meet you. And thank you, Paul, and all the amazing presenters today.
Thank you so much, Ricky. Next, we'll have Chris Macias, since got a shout out already. Sorry, I'll do this here. So we'll share screen. Here. And he is in the Dream Center. And so I pulled that up. I'll put this over into the corner and you're sharing your screen. So thank you so much, Chris, for being here.
Awesome. Thank you, Paul. Can everybody hear me okay? Cool. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. Yeah, like they said, like both Ricky and Paul said, my name is Chris Macias. I'm the director of the Dream Center here at the U. The Dream Center, what we mainly do is focus working on students, what we call mixed status, right? So students who are undocumented, students who are permanent residents, or students who are children of immigrants who are undocumented, but they themselves are U.S. citizens or different statuses. And that can get pretty complicated, right? Most of the students who we work with do not qualify for federal financial aid, thus have no kind of federal or public assistance to attend college. Oh, somebody's unmuted. Cool. And so what we do is try to find ways and find awards that students do qualify for that are privately funded, so they do not have to go around those systems and go through that route, right? So I want to quickly just go over our website since we only have a couple of minutes, which is dream.utah.edu. Again, that's dream.utah.edu. And what we've done is we've curated a list of scholarships that are open to all students on campus, regardless of your status. But we make sure that we specifically mention that they are open to undocumented students as well, in case that is your situation, right? If that's the case, it's already there. You don't have to find out yourself if you qualify for that award or not, because we've already done that for you, right? Some of them will say students with DACA, which is a specific program that some people qualify under. And some of them say open to students with nothing, who are undocumented with no DACA, right? And so if we've done them all by calendar. So if you look here this month, these are all the ones that are due. And if you just kind of scroll a little bit, you see how many are actually open to students here. What we do is we contact private organizations or private companies come to us and they say, hey, we have $1,000. Where can we give these funds to, who can we award them to? We then say, we'll put them on our website, we'll tell people what qualifications are, and we list them right then and there, so they're all in one place. I think the Flask Award that Patrick was talking about earlier is actually listed on here as well, but again, that one's open to those who are US citizens only, right? So that's clarified right on there to see who is eligible for. So one coming up right now that a lot of students are working on is this one here. It's an alumni scholarship called We Get It, Stuff Happens, and that has been edited because the actual name is something else, as you might guess. But that's very popular because right now with the pandemic that has been going on, stuff happens. So that's to give you an idea of what you could qualify for. So again, they're open to all students, but we just make sure that it says on there specifically who can't qualify if you're undocumented. Now, quickly, for students who may be in that situation or come from a mixed status family, we also offer not only the scholarships themselves and where to find them, but how, bless you, online. But we also offer ways on how to actually apply for those. So we do the entire college preparation and scholarship application process. So if you have questions on how to write an essay, how to ask for a letter of recommendation, what policies, if you're undocumented, qualify for you, such as House Bill 144, which is a tuition reduction, Senate Bill 253, which is eligible for private scholarships, all of these sort of policies and laws that apply, we are there to help you understand those as well. So it's not just about here's the money and how to get it, but it's about essentially helping you with every step of the process, right? So currently, we have 2 awards that we just opened literally this week. One of them is called U Alumni Dreams Scholarship. We actually haven't even put it on here yet, but we'll because we just opened it, but look out for that one. It's due in March 1st. But that one is for anybody who is an alum or will be an alum of the U. So you all are transferring, so it doesn't quite apply yet, but you can start looking into that if you're already enough credits wise, right? So depending on wherever you're at. And we have another one called Starfish Award, and that's because the donor decided, it's an anonymous donor, but they said, I want to call it the Starfish Award. And that one is open specifically for continuing students, including transfer students. So all of you are continuing your education, so you're not incoming freshmen anymore, thus you qualify for that particular award. So that one will be on here in just a couple of days. So look out for specifically the Starfish Scholarship as one that you all might be eligible for. And if you have questions about what it means to have a different status or what policies apply to you, definitely let me know. I'll be hanging out for a little bit here. But again, we've done all of that work for you. It's just a matter of reaching out and see if you have any questions there. Aside from the scholarships and that process, we also help with general academic advising, navigating campus. We have a student group that we all kind of get together weekly, and they put together activities specifically for undocumented students. We also work with the Solid Community College Dream Center that's there, who does exactly what we do, but at Solid Community College. So if you're transferring from SLIC and you have one of these statuses, definitely we can connect you there to finish that process with them and come over to us and also find other ways that we can support you there. So in short, there's a lot that we do, but I wanted to focus on this part for all of you today. Thank you very much, Paul, for the opportunity, and hope you all have a good transition to the U. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
That was fast.
Yeah, so this is like a super brief run through, but I think the really nice thing is that hopefully you see someone, you make a connection, and you go from there. So Dee, can you talk about some equity and diversity scholarships within Csb, and you should be able to share screen. So thank you so much, Dee.
Right on. Aloha, everybody. Aloha Friday it is. And Happy New Year's. My name is Dee Kinikini, and I've been here at the University of Utah for almost 15 years. It's been pretty exciting. I love to see all my colleagues over here. I don't want to be repetitive on a few things that's already been mentioned, but I will direct you to exactly where you can reach me and how you can access the resources that we have in our office. I'm going to share screen right now. Right. Paul, can you see me over there?
Yes, we can see it.
Right on. So first of all, our office is the Center for Equity and Student Belonging. It used to be formerly called the CESA office, or a Center for Ethnic Student Affairs. We are located in the Union Building, room 235, same place. We've been around for over 40 years. We've collaborated with many, if not all, of the resources that we have here. When you get to this website, it is diversity.utah.edu. And when you get here, we have all these amazing resources that you can go through. These are our centers and offices, from the American Indian Resource Center, the Black Culture Center, and so forth. and so forth. I'm going to take you to the office that I am in. I'm in the Center for Equity and Student Belonging. And in our office, we have a handful of programs and coordinators to help you in your transition to the University of Utah. From early contact to first year, et cetera. I'm going to take you down here. We also have a transfer program coordinator. Absolutely wonderful. Please visit. But because of this particular event, I get to talk about what I'm excited about here. These are scholarships. Now, just like many of my colleagues have mentioned, there are a handful of scholarships that we facilitate within our office for new incoming students, known as the Utah Opportunity Scholarship, and then some of our scholarships that we work together with other offices, like Chris's office and so forth. What we've done here, what I'd like to highlight here is something that was mentioned by a few of my colleagues on what we can do to help you to navigate, how to search, how to find the process of scholarships, timelines, deadlines. There's not a one size fit all. There's not a one huge scholarship that will blanket everything, but it's really important to find out where to look for them, how to apply for them. And that's some of the things that we can do. My contact information is right there. My telephone number, you can always leave a message or you can always catch me by email. Now, we've kind of consolidated the scholarships that are available outside of the opportunity to help you and navigate what scholarships and how to find them or how to apply to them. Like all my colleagues mentioned, we've also sorted them out to help you. The umbrella of scholarships, of course, here at the University of Utah, sit under the academic works to find as many scholarships and so forth. However, we've also broken down other scholarships that we use or we have awarded throughout here at the University of Utah, including scholarships for minority students, the American Indian Resource Center, and also our other ethnic-based diversity scholarships. We've also go down to a lot of our peer partners on campus, and you can find those easily on our page. Now, one of the coolest things here is also this list of scholarships that are even out national and other scholarships outside the University of Utah. These lists of scholarships have the same process. Timelines are rolling deadlines, meaning some are for next semester or next year, and there's deadlines, and some of them are rolling ones, meaning you can apply for these scholarships throughout the year. So in a quick introduction here, stop by, visit, or send an email. We'll help connect you with the scholarship that you feel that that you qualify for, and stop by. We can help out to any kind of advising, connect dots on campus. We have student groups in our office. We have a calendar of events, and we're here to support you. Thank you very much. Again, there's my contact there on the side there. Thank you, Paul, and your wonderful team for inviting us to the table, and good luck with all of you in your transition. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dee. And certainly not last but not least, we have Elise from the College of Social Behavioral Science, and she has some pretty early deadline scholarships as well. You should be able to screen share as well, Elise. Take it away. Thank you.
Hi, like Paul said, my name is Elise Dunaway. I am the scholarship coordinator for the College of Social and Behavioral Science. And we have so many scholarship opportunities available for students who are declared majors within the college. And I'm gonna talk to you guys about them. A lot of this information is similar to what has been said already, but it's good to repeat it just in case. I will start sharing my screen now so you can see our website. So an easy way to get to this specific scholarship page is to go to csbs.utah.edu And we have the sidebar right here. And then you can go to undergraduate students and scroll down to scholarships. And then it just takes you to this page I have displayed. This is specifically for undergraduate. We have a similar web page for our graduate students that you can find under the graduate tab. But basically, like it says here, we have one application and you get multiple scholarships. We have divided our applications based on major. And so, for example, an anthropology major would fill out the anthropology scholarship application to be considered for the numerous scholarships they have to offer. And then the scholarship selection committee divides applicants into scholarships that the applicant is qualified for. So that means that the student doesn't have to search through a ton of scholarship applications and then decide which ones are worth applying to. They just get considered for all possible opportunities they are eligible for. If you are a double major and you want to be considered for all possible scholarship opportunities, you would have to fill out an application for each of your majors. But if you scroll down, it says that our 2022 to 2023 undergraduate scholarship applications are now open. We do our scholarships based on academic year, and so it's important to apply now because we won't have the applications open again until next year for the 2023 to 2024. And if you click this, it turns around and it says that our due date is February 1st, 2022, which is coming up really fast, but there is still plenty of time to apply. And we have important step-by-step instructions on our page. And once again, you can just click each tile and it turns around to give the details of it. Check your scholarship eligibility. There are different ways to do that. It says to complete your FAFSA application. This is if you want to be considered for any of our needs-based scholarships. Not all of our scholarships have a needs-based component. And so if you do not need financial aid or anything, then you don't have to fill this out. And then a lot of our scholarships have various criteria as well. And so it just kind of depends on what each department is offering. In order to unlock the CSBS application on Academic Works, you have to fill out what is called the University of Utah General Scholarship Application. This application on its own does not get you considered for any scholarship. It just basically unlocks scholarship opportunities. And it's kind of just a way that the system gets to know you, and then they can recommend certain opportunities based on your situation, I guess. This tile right here, tile number 5, has links directly to each department scholarship application. As you can see, we have quite a few departments in the college. We are, I think, the largest college on campus, and so we cater to a lot of students. And then tile number 6 is also important. Apply for other CSBS scholarships. These are standalone applications, and so if you want to apply for these, it does require a separate application. So some of the criteria is listed right on this webpage to make it easier for you to decide if you qualify or not. An important one to note is that our Solution Scholars program. It's a program that takes about 20 students and has a cohort that you're together with for about 2 years. And you just have an interdisciplinary education to solve key challenges in our world, such as immigration, climate change, poverty, etc. It's a really cool program. And I would encourage people to look more into that if it sounds interesting. Yeah, like I've said already, all of our scholarship deadlines are February 1st. We have scholarship resources right here, so you can get tips on letters of recommendation, essays such as personal statements, and how to upload documents into the Academic Works portal. And then we've also listed other campus-wide scholarship opportunities, such as the Alumni Association, Hinckley Institute, the Bennion Center, the Women's Resource Center, which presented today as well, and as well as the Dream Center. Yeah, if anyone has any questions, you can email them to scholarships@csbs.utah.edu. That connects right to my inbox, and so I see the emails pretty quickly, and I am happy to help with any step of the application that you may be in. So yeah, thank you guys so much. I am so glad I was able to present today.
Thank you so much, Elise. And so now what I wanted to do is have time for everyone to ask questions. We got about 30 to 40 people in person and about 14 to 15 online. So what some of the main takeaways I got is you can apply. They are due soon, and a lot of people are there to help you and support you. And I'm recording this so you can come back and visit it. But as well as if you go to the website, we list which offices presented so you can go and check and see them. But I want to start off. Anyone have any questions for our presenters? I know this is a very often asked topic. Any general questions? Yes. So the question was about references or letters of recommendation. Does anyone want to jump in and Kirsten? Yes, and for people online, Kristen said the Women's Resource Center requires one letter of rec. Does anyone else?
CSBS, a lot of our scholarships require 2 letters of recommendation, one from a source such as a professor or a TA, and another can be like a supervisor or a boss, but one has to be an academic source, so to speak.
Thank you. Ricky?
Yeah, I just wanted to say we also require 2 letters of recommendation for the Flask scholarship. And generally in the past, I know I heard somebody else talk about incomplete applications. I just want to mention, generally in the past, we were more looking for a kinder synonym than rigid, but we were more particular about all of the elements of an application being present for it even to be considered. But in these tumultuous times, we are accepting all applications. So if you only got 1 letter of recommendation in instead of the 2, your application will still be considered, especially because often that's out of your hands, right? You request that from your recommenders. It's important to request early. If you're just learning now, request immediately. Kindly follow up. It's also a good practice in professional and courteous communication. And even if the date is passed, say, can you still get that to the committee? Sometimes they'll still consider it. But like I said, for our opportunity, if you don't get both those letters in, we're still going to consider you, right? So best practice, we need both those letters. But I say still just, you do your best. Get what you can, communicate respectfully, ask early next time around, even earlier than this date, hopefully. But I guess my small answer is do what you can and still hit submit on those applications.
Yes, and I definitely want to back Ricky up of like, please apply. Hopefully that you take away from this that you should apply right away and you should ask. I agree with Ricky as well. Ask your recommenders today. So I don't know if anyone else, Chris or Dee, want to answer that?
No, I'll just say that for us, because we've gathered this from many different private locations and companies and individuals, there is no one requirement. So some of them will require others, some of them have 2, some will have none. However, all the ones that we manage internally, like the 2 that I mentioned earlier, we do not ask for the, we have a whole different process. Because for students who have mixed status, we may have to fill out many other different forms already. So the process is a bit more complex in a way. We don't have that. But all the private ones are just very inclusive.
Yes, thank you. And so if you couldn't hear that online, the internal scholarships in the Dream Center do not, but other ones, depending on the scholarship, may ask for a letter of recommendation. Other questions? That was a great question. Thank you. Yes. Uh-huh. So sorry, I didn't catch all of it. So kind of with, so one of the things I want to mention is all these scholarships that are due now are going to be for fall of 2022. So it's a new whole process. I would definitely say, like, I've worked with some students in my academic advising role where if there was questions or unsure, like always reach out. Almost every scholarship has a contact person, and the people who presented today gave their contacts, is to reach out to that scholarship and say, hey, I have a question. I had a student in the past who didn't see her notification email to accept her scholarship, so she had to reach out to the department that offered it, and they were able to figure it out. So I would say the first step would be to always reach out to the scholarship and ask for more information. Almost every scholarship will list like a contact person. Was there another part that I missed of your? Uh-huh. Yes. Okay, so for the business school, I would definitely reach out. They're not here. After this event in this main ballroom over here, the business career services will be there, so they may know like the best person to reach out to. But I know in general, like there's a lot of opportunities in business for anyone who's a business student. There is the what is it called? Opportunity scholars, and there's also business scholars. So I would reach out, I would look those programs up and reach out to them. I know like Rich Kafusi is over Opportunity Scholars. But I would look online and look at those, and I'm happy to talk with you after as well, of like maybe who to talk to. Yeah, we'll talk after, but yeah, I can help you. Any other questions? This is a chance to have like 5 people who do scholarships in the same room or a virtual room together. So please take this opportunity. I hope you really reach out. Anyone online have a question? I don't see any questions in chat, but feel free to add in the chat. We have a little bit of time. Yes. Sorry, I can't hear you. Say it a little loud. Yeah. I would say talk to that professor. And then I'm too much of an academic advisor, so I'm sorry for answering all these questions. But I would say, in my experience, if you got a B, but you have a good relationship, like talk to the professor honestly of like, you know, I want to ask you for a letter. Would you write me a strong one? And you can kind of go and have an honest conversation. I know that there are some cases where the answer is yes, but I would ask. Anyone want to answer who is more of an expert than me, please? Give me a.
Because it's not always about what grade you receive from the class, but it's about the relationship of class and answer. But also what the letter is asking for. Sometimes scholarship will say, we need a letter of recommendation that can speak to the leadership abilities. That professor knows the leadership skills, the academic skills, that's the person. But if it says you want to know your academic strengths, then maybe consider someone where you're a little bit different. So like it just depends on what they're asking for, but for the most part, as long as you ask them the time and you explain why you're doing it and what you want, it should be totally fine. I've never had experience with somebody with a lower grade background. That doesn't do it.
Anyone else want to answer to like, maybe you didn't get an A, but you feel like you have a good relationship about asking for a letter? Any tips or?
Yeah, my short answer is it's difficult to ask for letters of recommendation, and I recognize that, especially for different personalities. I think we live in a really extrovert biased world. So I just want to recognize that first. It's difficult. So I encourage you all to try to find a way, maybe whatever format, if that's an email, phone call, office out, whatever works for you, right? But another good thing, and I'm kind of getting to the question, I promise. Another really great recommendation that I heard years ago, and I repeat to most students I speak to, is provide your recommender with a rough draft of your statement. That way, even if you've been in multiple of their courses, they get the more direct, coherent, short blurb vision of what you're applying for. It's up to them to decide what they say in that letter, right? But you just empowered them. You gave them tools. You told them what your goals are, why you're applying for this. That's going to probably get you to that best letter, often just as easily as many good grades or one good grade in their course. They know what your vision is, right? So if you've done well, you've done good work, maybe it's not your best grade, maybe it's not your best course. I mean, that's life, right? Like we all have like our strengths and weaknesses, the courses we did better or worse at. But if there's a professor you think that is a good option, I don't want to say just as important. Another important element is giving them tools beyond that grade, beyond what you did in the class, a rough draft of the letter of your statement. And you're not turning it into them. They're not the reviewer. You're just giving them information, right? And again, that's not required. You don't have to do that, but I think it's a great piece of advice.
Can I also add that to that wonderful remark there by Ricky is time, right? Give your recommendators time. It's difficult to say, hey, could you write me a letter of reference? I need it by Friday. And it's Wednesday, right? So everything that Ricky just mentioned, give them as much information. It may have been a little while since you've been there. You can kind of jog their memory a little bit, but give them time. I would say on the safe, 2 weeks is very doable, right? 2 weeks. That gives the person some time to kind of put it into their schedule, etc. It is so difficult. As much as I love a lot of my student stuff, to say, to get an email, I need a recommended by tomorrow or by next week. Can you please help me? So give yourself some time and everything else that Ricky mentioned.
Thank you, everyone. So we have a couple questions in the chat, so I want to get to those. So this question says, if I've taken one semester at the U, do most scholarships take your overall GPA, including your transfer GPA, or just your new U of U GPA? So this is very, like, we have a lot of transfer students who are coming in spring. How does that look like to you all? Like, how do you take GPA? Anyone want to answer?
I can answer. I'll be quick. I keep answering. My apologies. For the Flask scholarship, they're going to look at both. They're going to ask your transfer GPA and they're going to ask your U of U GPA. That's really varied. One could be 1 semester versus 3 years, right? They understand that. The GPA portion is just one score on a longer list of scores. The selection committee is going to attach to your application, meaning I don't know how all opportunities operate. I know a number. I've spoken with many other scholarship coordinators. Usually they're looking at a lot more than just your GPA. For ours, that is important, and they're going to give you a score. They're going to rank it 1 to 10 on that component, GPA. There's many other categories, your statement, your letters of recommendation, your other experience, right? So I don't know what every opportunity, every scholarship does, but on ours, we take both into account, transfer GPA and your current or your internal U of U GPA. But again, that's not the end all be all, but it's important.
Anyone else want to add to that question before we move to the next question?
I would say we look at both. And we occasionally make extra sessions. So a student might have taken off 5 years or something and got 4 GPA 5 years ago, and then they really nailed it a semester. That as a factory, and so people give more weight to
Thank you, Kristen. Just if you couldn't hear online, for Women's Resource Center, they do look at both, but if there's gaps, I definitely know that students have like 5 years or more gaps, they will focus if you've had a better GPA when you come back. They will take that into consideration that you've done better research. So another question in the chat, it says, regarding letters of recommendation, if I'm applying to multiple scholarships, can I use the same letter of recommendation for different scholarships? Is it recommended to have different recommendations for different scholarships? What are y'all's thoughts?
I get to know.
It's
It's always best to have as specific as you can for each award. So if they ask for a certain letter, get a different one for each scholarship, right? I know it's a little bit difficult, and sometimes that means asking multiple people or asking the same person for multiple letters, which actually just yesterday I got an email, can you write me 3 letters? And I'm like, wow, but I will. So yes, the more specific you can get, the better. And again, as I mentioned earlier to the previous question, some letters ask for specific set of knowledge about that person, right? Their leadership skills versus academic skills versus other things, right? So it depends on that. I would not recommend getting the same thing and turning it in. In fact, I sit on multiple scholarship committees, including one that like Dee was talking about, right, like Chicano Scholarship Fund. And I have seen that where students apply to scholarships in the Dream Center and the Chicano Scholarship Fund, it's the same exact letter. And it might be a really great letter, but that tells me that they did not put in that effort. Those who did will then be considered higher, right? So believe it or not, most of us sit on multiple committees and we will know, we will see that. If there's even been a couple occasions where I've seen the wrong scholarship title at the top, dear this scholarship committee, and I'll say, well, that's not the right scholarship, so we're gonna move aside because you didn't apply to this one, right? So be very careful with that. And I know it's a lot of work, but we definitely recommend that you do get multiple folks, right? And that goes the same thing for the actual essays and letters that you write. You can write kind of a generic essay and then take from there and start tweaking it as you go to each scholarship, but I would not recommend doing the same one for different awards, right? So same idea there. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you. Anyone else want to add to the question about you're applying to multiple scholarships, which you should all be doing? Any other additional feedback?
Yeah, let me just throw this in really quickly here. Just piggyback on what Chris just mentioned. Apply to as many scholarships as you possibly can. You're not guaranteed that you're going to get all of them, but you got a better chance. The other thing about writing letters, yes, specifically, try to find 4 or 5 people that love you that are not related to you, especially in the academic world. And then you can use, some of them may mesh. For example, some of the scholarships will ask for your community efforts, for your leadership efforts. Those things kind of are similar, and you can kind of use them for multiple scholarships. But yes, definitely what they're asking for, match it with the letter of recommendations, provide for the recommender the information that they could use, and give them amount of time, and you'll be in good shape. You'll be in good shape. It's your planning and giving them as much time possible. So
Thank you, everyone. Anyone else have questions either in the chat or in person?
I had a quick clarification too. Those were super great answers. I just want to add on, just in case it's not clear to anyone, you're not going to see your letter, at least for most opportunities. I don't know if that's clear. You're putting in their email address and their name and contact info. And most of the time, especially through that centralized academic work system, the system prompts that recommender to go in alone. So you're not seeing it at all, right? You're not receiving these and then redirecting them. Now, I don't want to speak for anyone else in the room or virtual and physical room. That might not be true for all others, but in case you as a potential applicant didn't realize that, you're not seeing those. So you're asking the recommender, and hopefully they can write something different for the different opportunities, right? That's important, that communication piece. And then real quick, yeah, T's right. I love that. That's great. Just apply to more and more. One thing I commonly do in these things, these scholarship opportunity, get together gatherings, outreach events, is just shed insight. None of your professors, none of them, I don't think there's probably anyone out there who got into every grad school they applied for, received every scholarship they applied for, received every grant they applied for, got every publication published that they tried for. No one has 100% accuracy, right? Or 100% success rate. So I just say that to say, if you apply for things and don't receive them, that's okay. It's just, you're building your skills. You're going to do better the next time. Everyone just gets a certain percentage. You do more by applying for more and frequently. So yeah, that was a great comment, T. Thanks.
Just real quick to wrap up, because I gotta go out. But what Patrick just said is true. For my graduate school scholarships, I applied to 15 my first year. I got none. In the second semester, I got the Flask scholarship. So he's one of my advisors actually for that. It was an amazing experience to be able to do that in Flask scholarship. So definitely it was worth the time of putting in all of that. Right? It's like a job, right? You do some work, you get paid, you do a lot of work, and you get But for anybody who's in the Dream Center, we're located just down these stairs here, twice in the basement. You kind of have to go outside and back in a little bit. It's weird. We're located in Union, in this building, room 80. And again, my name is Chris Macias, director of Dream Center. If you have any questions, especially if anybody does not want to talk about their status publicly, feel free to come talk to me in the private setting. So thank you very much. Thanks, Paul.
Thank you, Chris. And then just to echo what Chris said, Union, room 80, you go all the way to the very bottom, and you do have to kind of go outside the building, and then you go back in the building. If that happens, you're still doing it correctly. I know it sounds weird, but please reach out to them. And then I also want to add, as a grad student, I applied for a scholarship. I did not get it. I applied for the exact same scholarship the same year, and I got it, and it was a full scholarship. So please, if you don't get it the first time, don't feel like, oh, I'm never going to get it. I really want to stress that, because it's happened to me as well. Of like, that didn't happen the first time, happened the second time. We just have a couple minutes left. Does anyone have any additional questions, either online or in person? Please, hopefully you've seen a lot of great people who all said they want to help you, and they all said, here's my email, please contact me. So please do that. Some of the things, if you want to give your letter of recommender a couple of weeks from today is pretty close to some of the deadlines. So you definitely are in, like, have some time. So if you work quickly, yes. So the question is there a general amount of income to be under to receive a scholarship? Kirsten is saying no. She's shaking her head no. Elise is shaking her head no. If anyone wants to say a word. we'll just quietly shake our head no, that it is.
What was the question again, Paul?
Is there a certain amount of money you have to be under to get a scholarship? Or, you know, if you do get disqualified for making too much?
So obviously, for clarification, and everybody has their own qualifications for it, but there are need-based scholarships. And then there's, of course, the merit scholarships. With those ones, they're going to look at it, whatever it is, but there are some scholarships that they're only going to, or they're going to prioritize those who are in the need-based based off of financial aid. But that's about as much I can give you on that.
Yeah, and you should still apply. I mean,
Yep, you should.
and it's gonna look different for different scholarships. So I would say just don't let that be a reason not to apply.
Now, let me just throw this in really quickly here. If you guys haven't seen the national news, they're kind of debating about this, how they're going to go about the EFC and how they're going to, the index for financial aid next year and so forth is going to affect everything in financial aid and scholarships. So just keep this in mind. They're looking at a way of measuring what your current situation is, right? Right now, we're going back 2 years with financial aid. If you're under 24 years old and not married, they kind of go off of that to kind of see how much you qualify for. So it's in debate and there's discussion in Washington right now. And as it gets closer and closer, it's looking very favorable for students in their current situation. So nothing official, just a lot of debate with that right now. So apply for it. Apply for it.
Thank you. We only have about 3 minutes. Any last questions? Anyone? Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. For people online, I made the Zoom setup that you had to give me your email so I know who attended. So I'll know that automatically. But if anyone has any questions, you can always email me and I can help connect you to everyone who presented today, and I'll give my email. But thank you so much. This was an hour that flew by, and please, please, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'm gonna end the recording here.